Hello, good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesme 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 1.5 hours. Minority officially writes to the Speaker of Parliament to request a meeting to discuss what they describe as grave concerns as they question the suspension of 3 of their parliamentarians. Meanwhile, First Deputy Speaker and Chair of Appointments Committee, Bernard Ahiafo, says the standing orders of Parliament grants the Speaker the power to suspend MPs.
And at the point, he even rained insults on Jerry Ahmed. Yes, I heard it clearly. Well, he called him silly. This is not what I brought you here to come and do. So please, help me do what I asked you to do.
We'll bring you more of that. Also, ad hoc committee begins inquiry into appointment committee chaos. We have more. Some civil society organizations also weighed into the matter. All of these stories plus business and sports all coming up in the next 90 minutes. But for now, though, Enyonam Haliga is here with the latest in summaries. And you know what you have.
Hi, Beatrice. And so the civil society organizations have backed Speaker Alban Bagben's suspension of 4 members of Parliament over chaos at the Appointments Committee vetting. The MPs, including majority and minority chief whips, were involved in disturbances that led to the property damage. The CSOs praised the move to uphold parliamentary integrity and called for strict sanctions to prevent future misconduct. Still in Parliament, the minority in Parliament has rejected the suspension of 3 of its MPs, calling it unlawful, harsh, and a threat to democracy. Minority Leader Alexander Afenyomarkin accused the Speaker of acting in bad faith by not granting the affected lawmakers a fair hearing. First Deputy Speaker and Appointments Committee Chair Bernard Ahiafo has alleged that the ranking member, Alexander Afenyomarkin, instructed Wijagbawe MP Jared Ahmed Shaib to disrupt the vetting of Health Minister nominee Kwabena Mensah Kando. Speaking to Alfred Okanse, Ahiafo claimed Afenyomarkin initially agreed to the vetting but later ordered the disruption. In business, the newly appointed Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Johnson Asiama, has assured financial markets that the leadership transition will not disrupt operations or policy direction. Speaking after assuming office, he pledged to maintain sustainability and ensure the central bank continues to uphold its mandate. And in sports, a tragic incident occurred during the Ghana Premier Football League on Sunday as Asante Kotoko fan Francis Piao Frimpong, popularly known as Pole, was stabbed to death after an argument in Insotraman. The incident happened during Kotoko's game against Insotraman. In a statement, Insotraman FC described the loss as senseless and devastating. That's it for summaries.
Thank you very much, Enyonam Haliga, for bringing us the latest in summaries. And let's bring you the details of our stories for you tonight. And the minority in Parliament has rejected a suspension of 3 members of the House in their caucus, describing the move as contrary to law, harsh, and one capable of undermining the will of the Ghanaian people. Leader Alexander Afenyomarkin said the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagben, acted in bad faith by not giving fair hearing to the lawmakers affected. Here's a report by Christian Yale.
According to the minority MPs, the Speaker did not act right by suspending 3 of their colleagues without a fair hearing. They say the action of the Speaker has gravely affected their colleagues, and as a result, they have referred the matter to their party's National Council to seek a resolution. Also, the NPP MPs say that they are going to explore all diplomatic means while affirming that they will never be intimidated by their low numbers.
The chair of the committee did not communicate anything to the Speaker. Neither did the Speaker invite any of us in leadership for any discussion. As a responsible caucus, we are going to ferry our concerns in a memo to his office. And we believe that that would even form the basis for the discussion. We believe that the right thing to do is to grant these affected members hearing. We have also taken the matter up. We have escalated the matter to our party level. But we want to say this with emphasis. This mighty few, this happy few, will not allow itself to be intimidated.
And yet again, the minority took on the clerk to the appointment committee. They say she has been biased and unfair and has demonstrated that she is partisan. As a result, they do not want her to be on that committee again. They say, as a group of NPP MPs, they are going through difficult times.
The clerk to the committee is a partisan clerk. She is not a neutral professional clerk. She's caused us a lot of discomfort. We've tolerated, accommodated her. At this point, it's getting out of hand. She advertises at midnight. As a minority leader, I am to know those to be vetted the next day ahead of time. He doesn't share that with us. A lot of times I have to manage the pain, the frustration of my members. For now, we don't want the clerk on the appointment committee again.
It remains to be seen whether the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, is going to grant these requests by the minority MPs. But for these MPs, they believe that all proceedings that took place on Friday after Speaker's ruling were illegal because of the gaps that were left due to the suspension of the 4 MPs.
Christian Yale found that report. Meanwhile, the special committee set up by the Speaker to investigate the chaos that took place on Thursday, February 30 in Parliament has assured that its work will not be a witch hunt of any member of Parliament. Chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Bedra, has requested lawmakers to be cooperative, saying they will work within the mandate given by the Speaker.
We are to conduct a full-scale investigation into the event of Thursday, 30th January, and the morning of 31st January. 2, identify all members involved in the disorder and submit a report with findings and recommendations. To do this, the committee wishes to announce that we have decided to hold a public hearing of all the issues starting from Wednesday here in Parliament House at 10 a.m. prompt. We shall expect members of Parliament, the media, the guests who were present at a vetting room, as well as members of the general public, to voluntarily appear to assist the committee with the relevant information on the incident.
And you had there Emmanuel Bedra, his chairman of the committee, set to probe that chaos that took place in Parliament on Thursday, January 30. And, there has been a formal letter written to the Speaker of Parliament to request a meeting over the recent suspension of some MPs. In a memo dated February 2, 2025, the minority leader Alexander Penyomarkin requested the legal basis of the suspension and asked the Speaker to reverse the sanctions. Mr. Penyo also cited various standing orders to question the propriety of the Speaker's directive, and he'll bring you more as and when we do have that. Well, still in Parliament, the first Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the Appointments Committee, Bernard Ahiafo, has alleged that ranking member on the committee, Alexander Penyomarkin, instructed Wejagbewa Bawe MP Jerry Ahmed Shaib to disrupt the voting of Health Minister Kwabena Minta Akando. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Alfred Okase, Mr. Ahiafo said that he was surprised that despite the ranking member, who is also the minority leader, agreeing to the vetting of Minta Akando, he went ahead to order his colleague MP to disrupt the exercise. Take a listen.
Why would this generate into what happened? So if I'm tolerating you, it doesn't mean that I should be taking liberty for nonsense. Let me give an example. Alfredo Kansi.
Yes.
I want to slap you, and you put your hand at the back. That don't slap me. Why should that generate into a fight? Reasonably, how can that generate into a fight? I said I'm going to slap you, and your hand is at the back. That don't slap me. How on earth could that generate into a fight? It's like they have a premeditated mind. Where I am sitting, I can eavesdrop into their conversations.
You eavesdrop into their
Yes.
And what do you
so
hear them saying?
At the point that they were asking the deputy whip to call members, then I knew something was going to happen. As a result of which they were asking that members should be called in.
So you heard the minority leader telling the deputy to call the MPP MPs in.
And at the point, he even rained insults on Jerry Ahmed. But
insult on Jerry Ahmed.
Yes, I heard it clearly.
For what?
Well, he called him silly. This is not what I brought you here to come and do. So please, help me do what I asked you to do.
Yes,
he said so.
Silly.
He said so. He said so. And any member of the committee who pays attention to them will listen to the insult. And if Jerry Ahmed can be fair to the general public, he would honestly say that he had received insult that fateful day.
The Thursday night?
Yes.
And what was the instruction to him?
Well, the instruction was that he should call members. You know, for Jerry, even going to prevent Akando from taking the seat was on the instruction of the minority leader.
Instructed Jerry Ahmed to prevent that's the health minister designate from taking the oath.
Yes. Yes. I heard him loud and clear.
You heard Apenyomakin give that instruction?
I heard him loud and clear.
You're ready to defend this position?
On one occasion at the vetting, I had a course to place on record the minority leader, why are you asking your side to put on all the microphones?
It was the same Thursday?
Because I heard him asking them to that all of them should put on their microphone. I then asked, why? I've forgotten to even put my microphone on, so it will be captured by the media. That minority leader, why are you asking your side to put on the microphone to disrupt the proceedings? It cannot be for any other reason apart from trying to disrupt the proceedings that you will call on your side to put on the microphone.
Well, Mr. I have also spoke about the line of questions from the ranking member, Apenyomakin, describing them as an attempt to settle political scores.
The other related matters should go a long way to make the nominee unfit for the position that he is supposed to occupy.
And you think that that question...
The fact that Alfredo Kansi has 2 wives and I have 1 means that you cannot be a journalist. And I can only be a journalist because I have 1 wife. So I try to understand the impulse of the question. What is it leading to? It is leading nowhere. It's leading nowhere.
The questions of the minority leader was leading nowhere?
It was leading nowhere.
But he had the destination in mind.
But has he reached that destination? Maybe you are the jury. You should be judging whether in any case he has reached that particular destination regarding the nominees that we have vetted so far. If you read the destination tomorrow, that is a different thing. But where I stand, he's not been able to reach any destination. Is he with Okujeto Ablakwa or Sam George or Amabua or the regional ministers that we have vetted? Is it Honorable Ato Fosun or Kwame Agboja or Ahmed Ibrahim? He has not landed on anything concrete as a result of the questions that he was asking. That will go a long way to pin the persons down. The question that you should be asking yourself is, the person appearing before you, is he eligible? The eligibility criteria, is he competent to hold that particular position? If he's not competent to hold the position, why do I say so? or because of ABCD. It's like vetting is being used by the honorable minority leader to settle political scores. That is how I can say it.
Well, he also spoke about the scathing attacks on the clerk of the committee after the MPP minority called for her removal from the committee. He wants Apenyomakin to apologize to the clerk.
The clerk of the committee deserves an apology because it doesn't deserve those words to be used. We instruct, if the clerk of the committee has given you a notice of a pre-sitting, which we do in the mornings before we start sitting, why will you be angry that the notice came too late? Sometimes look at the time that we will close and then we take a decision that this is what we will do the following day. So I want the public to bear with the clerk that sometimes she must, if you don't close vetting, she will also don't close. If you close at 11, she will be closing at 11. Whilst other clerks have gone home, but she will be there. So she is really sacrificing for the appointment committee. So instead of applauding her, we should not denigrate her in before the cameras. No, we can invite the clerk to your office and tell the clerk that you have done ABCD. I'm not happy about this. Next time, that is not the way you should do it. But without even telling him that, her that, then you just stand before the cameras and then be using those words, you are partisan, I will deal with you. I mean, how? Should those things come from a member of parliament? Deal with her, how? How are you going to deal with her?
Well, they say they don't want her as a clerk to the appointments committee again. Today they addressed the press that they want her changed as a clerk to the appointments committee.
But my question, therefore, is that does the minority leader and then the entire minority determine who should be a clerk of the committee? If they don't want to work with the clerk, Gifty Jage Goba, then in effect they don't want to work at the appointment committee, because I, as the chairman of the committee, I can on no occasion recommend the remover.
You can't recommend her removal.
Of the committee, Gifty.
And you had the chairman of the appointment committee, Bernard Ahiafo, in that interview with Alfredo Kasi earlier. Meanwhile, some civil society organizations have commended the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, for his decision to suspend some parliamentarians in connection with the recent chaotic scenes at the sitting of the committee. In a statement issued Monday, that's today, February 3, the CSOs expressed their support for the Speaker's decision to investigate the chaos and hold those responsible accountable. Let me read a bit of that statement issued earlier, and it says that the Ghana Parliamentary Monitoring Organizations Network commends the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin for taking swift action following the misconduct that occurred during the vetting of ministerial nominees on Thursday, January 30, 2025. We believe that the Speaker's prompt and decisive move to launch an investigation into the incident and hold those responsible accountable is a necessary step in upholding the dignity and integrity of Parliament. Such actions will help restore discipline and ensure that parliamentary proceedings are conducted with the decorum expected of elected representatives. We also acknowledge the Speaker's commitment to enforcing the standing orders of Parliament. Strict enforcement of these rules is a crucial measure to halt the growing decline in parliamentary discipline, rebuild public confidence in democracy, and safeguard the reputation of Ghana's parliament. As civil society organizations dedicated to promoting parliamentary transparency and accountability, we express our keen interest in the outcome of the investigation and the subsequent actions taken. We will closely monitor the proceedings of the 7-member committee established to probe the matter and follow up on the directives issued, including those given to the clerk to Parliament and the ongoing police investigations to serve as a deterrent and reinforce the principle that no one is above the law, we recommend imposing more severe punishment on those found culpable, along with surcharges to cover the damages they have caused. This network, and so the statement goes on to list the people or the networks involved in this group. And let's speak to Sami Obeng, Executive Director of Parliamentary Network Africa, part of the networks that issued the statement earlier today. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice. Thanks for having me.
I just read your statement there that you issued earlier. Yes, you are commending the Speaker for it, but some individuals, including the minority, have also questioned the authority of the Speaker to suspend MPs.
Well, Beatrice, you would notice that the import of our statement really is not to go into the legality issues that is playing out within Parliament on minority, majority, that the Speaker had the right to do this. Because remember that the suspension is one out of many directives that were given by Mr. Speaker. There were directives on the fact that our money should not be used to repair the damaged property and that members of Parliament should pay.
Indeed.
There's been a committee set up to investigate and identify all the other people and punish, make recommendations as appropriate. There's the issue about the police being brought in for the criminal components of this, reforms to, the modus operandi of the appointment committee and what have you. Now, generally, looking at all of these things together, these are decisive steps and actions that we have not seen with the Parliament of Ghana, at least over the last 4 or so years, since the disturbances of January 6, 2021, eating into January 7th. And because of that, that has emboldened the institution and members of Parliament to continue to misbehave. And so for us, this is to say that, Mr. Speaker, in the past, you and the institution have not acted the way needed to be acted, you needed to act, but this time around you have done it well. And so we commend you. And that will be following to see how the rest of the actions that you are supposed to take will be followed through. And for us, that's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing.
There are avenues for members of Parliament to challenge the legalities or otherwise of some of the actions that have been taken by Mr. Speaker, and it's within their right so to do. But in doing so, we as people of Ghana must be very much respected for members of Parliament to know that some of these things are a way of chipping the reputation of our Parliament, your Parliament, my Parliament. And they must be more focused on the kind of reputational damage they've done to the Parliament of Ghana, rather than wanting to always cover this up with partisan politics as if that's all that we have to live for.
Quite an important point you're making, and the emphasis as regards what you meant or the import of the statement you issued. But aren't you concerned also about the procedure? Because those who are questioning the Speaker's stance, for instance, are also talking about procedure and the fact that if you read the new standing orders, I've read the new standing orders, particularly the ones concerning when somebody misbehaves in Parliament, and it seems to give a clear process as regards what to do, and therefore those who are disagreeing with the Speaker seem to be emphasizing on those. Aren't you concerned?
Parliamentary procedure matters, and fidelity to this procedure is important. At least I would, as somebody working with Parliamentary Network Africa and with my, a student of parliamentary work, I will be the last to say that parliamentary procedure does not matter. The good thing, however, is that there are remedial measures on how, if one disagrees with a decision that has been taken in Parliament, it can be dealt with. So you come by way of a substantive motion to challenge the Speaker's ruling on the subject matter. You go through the process to be able to. That way, it even helps to strengthen our democratic practices. All we are saying is that whereas this is important, equally important is the acknowledgement that as members of Parliament, they've been misbehaving. The people of Ghana are not happy about it, and they must be able to bow their heads in shame collectively and acknowledge that they've got to do better and stop covering up with this whole issue about procedure and processes at the expense of appeasing the people of Ghana with, words and statements that would let us know that really they are willing to reform.
Having made that point, though, what's your reaction to how the minority has reacted to this? And today, the leader, Alexander Penyomarking, addressed the press, really accusing the majority side of trying to intimidate the members on the minority, and of course going ahead to call for the removal of the clerk of parliament because he believed that she was so partisan more than being professional.
Well, it is within the minority's right, really, to protest on matters that they are not happy with. The same way that it is within our right as Ghanaians to call members of parliament out for the despicable acts that they've been displaying over the last couple of days. And so they are completely at liberty to complain. We'll encourage them to use the due process, the right processes to challenge the things that they are not very happy with. And the systems as are in place have its way of, vindicating them if, their position on the subject matter is truly the situation. I think that within the parliamentary service, there are ways in which one can complain about the staff who you think is not doing the work professionally, and there will be internal procedures, on that. And that's why I believe that whereas they've got the right to do that, and whereas the majority, just like we see all the time, will also probably come with a rebuttal, and all of those, politicking will go on. That should not chip away our rights as citizens in identifying that our people, our members of parliament, when they misbehave, must be called out.
Mr. Obin, before you go, and it's without a doubt that the members of parliament are in the House on the back of certain political parties, NPP, NDC, and of course the independents that we have in this 9th parliament. And there's a statement coming from the NPP, of course, which is behind the minority in parliament. And we actually saw senior executives behind Alexander Penyomarking join that press conference. I want to read that statement to you and ask your reaction very quickly. And it was issued just some minutes ago. It says, the New Patriotic Party has learnt with scorn that the Right Honourable Speaker on Friday, 31st January 2025, unilaterally suspended 3 of its members of parliament. The party sees this selective and autocratic posture of the Speaker as very dangerous, with all these actions packaged to cow the minority into submission, subsequently weakening its potential to hold the government accountable. The party calls on all, especially its honourable members of parliament, to be assured of the party's unflinching support at all material times and fully support the press conference of the Minority Caucus on Friday, on 3rd February 2025 and its subsequent briefings. In this spirit, the party wishes to state that it does not accept the decision of the Speaker to suspend its members, which is in flagrant disregard for the Constitution of the Republic as well as the rules of natural justice. The party hereby reiterates its position that it stands with its 88 gallant honourable members to address all forms of repression and unfairness in the application of the rules governing Parliament and the nation. How do you react to the wording of the statement?
Well, yet again, the NPP as a party, just like any other group, again, have the right to be able to complain against something that they think has not been properly done, and something that is against their members. Just like you would probably sometimes have the courts make a ruling and people who are parties to the case come out to say that, well, we hear you, courts, but we disagree with you. It is in the spirit of that they are disagreeing with Mr. Speaker's ruling. However, they've got members of parliament in the House who know what the procedure is to be able to battle this matter to its logical conclusion. And we encourage them to be able to do that. It was quite unfortunate that their statement never in a single sentence expressed a regret for what members of parliament, including members of their political party, did last Thursday, and to show the people of Ghana that as political class, they do not condone these kinds of things. Those are the lines that I look to see in statements like this.
All right, we'll end it here. Thank you very much, Samuel Obin, for speaking to us.
Pleasure always.
And Heather Samuel Bing, he's the Executive Director of the Parliamentary Network Africa. Let's get a quick word from Dr. Jonathan Asante-Ocho. He's a Senior Lecturer and Political Analyst at the University of Cape Coast in the Central Region. Good evening to you, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice.
Doc, I'm sure you heard me read that statement. Let me get your first reaction to the wording of it.
Well, I am surprised that the MPP caucus is buying into the militaristic leadership style of Mr. Afenyo-Martins. Maybe they don't want to be seen as chickening out, so to speak. And then obviously they don't want to be seen as not supporting the majority leader. But you see, it is this same militaristic firefighting approach to leadership that led Mr. Afenyo-Martins to go to the Supreme Court and to create all manner of problems for the MPP. As it stands now, you see, the letter is too skewed. It's as if they are too self-centered. And it's only about their members who have been suspended. But we also know that there is, the majority chief whip that has been suspended. And so if you feel so strongly about the legality or the parliamentary procedure or the rules of natural justice, and you want it to appear like you are not only self-serving, but to even bring the majority onto your side, you could have decided to include Mr. Dafiamako's name or belonging to the majority as a kind of fight that then becomes a kind of fight against the Speaker of Parliament.
And not necessarily because one belongs to one party or the other. That's the point you're making.
Yes, you see that thing. So it's as if it is only your members that have been suspended. The only difference is the numerical strength. On one side is 1, on the other it is 3. And the problem is that you are very insignificant in terms of numbers against the majority caucus. And probably that is the more reason why you are crying foul. But they should bear something in mind. Look, it could even be worse if the committee's report comes out. But they should have a sober reflection. They have read the name of Parliament to disrepute. And you don't expect the Speaker to sit idle. I feel strongly that the decision of the Speaker is a safe-saving measure. You see, it's a safe-saving measure of ensuring that parliamentarians don't misconduct themselves.
So you agree with the decision the Speaker took just to save, Parliament's image and integrity?
I agree.
But people are concerned about the process.
Pardon me?
People are concerned about the procedure. I mean, you have your standing orders. You should follow through.
The Speaker that we know will have a reason for taking such a decision. That's why I expected both majority and minority leadership to go to him. I have written a particular article in which I sought to suggest or to reiterate a point that in terms of communication, that which is communicated is about 10%. 90% of the letter is always uncommunicated. And you have to read in between the lines to be able to appreciate and understand the decision that has been taken. I am telling you that the decision of the Speaker is a safe-saving measure. And that, you see, if I were the Speaker, I would have added the issue that happened on the 7th of January 2021. And all other parliamentary violence, you see, that has occurred in Parliament. So it becomes a whole committee investigation, a committee of inquiry. But you see, this one is more or less like a firefighting approach. An incident has just happened. We need to find a solution to it. Let us, set up a committee. And usually, committees are set up. By the time you say that, people are struggling with their lives. And they just lose track of things of that nature. And it continues. And it is still perpetrated within Parliament. And when it happens, we'll condemn that. And then we'll go back to sleep. This, for me, is nothing punitive. Being suspended for 2 weeks is nothing punitive. You see, and I think that it is just a face-saving measure, and they should bear that. They should take that particular sanction of the Speaker in its equanimity of peace. I think they should do so.
The minority wants that decision reversed. The minority wants that decision reversed.
That is why I told him, and I've said it on air, on TV, that look, go to the speaker with the majority, because the majority, the chief whip of the majority, is inclusive. So why are you making it sound as if it is only your side that was sanctioned? It was not only your side that was sanctioned. Well, if you want to be selfish and then only fight for your people, I think that once it is a double-edged sword, it will be they will have a strong, position or firm ground if they included the majority.
Aside from that, Doc, and that was a point Sami Obeng with the Parliamentary Network Africa made just before you came on. You talked about the fact that the statement of the MPP seemed to give the impression that it was only their members who were suspended. Sami Obeng's argument is on the other side, where he feels that at least the MPP should have condemned what happened first before going to talk about the members who have been suspended. I don't know whether you share the same opinion with him, or you don't think that was necessary.
Of course, they ought to have condemned that which happened. But you see, because they think, but if you have the entirety of the MPP caucus supporting that, it means that they are not even bothered of the misconduct that took place. They are rather bothered about the sanction that has taken place. And it's as if you are glorifying the way and manner they went about doing things. You are not bothered. But you see, you have to bear in mind that this is political strategy. The opposition has nothing to lose for now. They have nothing to lose. Now, all what they are trying to do, and if the majority and the government, the party in government cannot bear this in mind, they are very much surprised. The NDC has the goodwill of Ghanaians. And I even rated the president's approval around 80. Just yesterday or so, Global Info Analysis brings a poll that shows that the approval rate is about 84%. Now, what is the business of the opposition? They will want to reduce or prune down your goodwill, the political goodwill that you have, because 84% or so, 68 or so, saying that Ghana is in the right direction. And the approval rating of the president is very high. So you do not expect that the opposition will do something that rather inure to the favor or the advantage of the majority. No. They will want to upstage you, undo you, to ensure that gradually you begin to look bad in the eyes of the electorate who gave you over 1.5 million vote difference. So it is a political strategy. But because other than that, what happened, what transpired, at the vetting committee meeting or vetting process, it's undesirable. And so the Speaker's decision is a face-saving measure to ensure that Parliament is cleansed of a sort. It could even be worse if they go on that tangent and he reverses it, and the committee comes up and says A, B, C, and D, and brings recommendations that will rather inure to the disadvantage of the minority. What are you going to say? Now you will be appealing to the Speaker to tamper justice with mercy.
And of course,
that is why I'm of the view.
No, please land on your thought.
Yeah, so that is why I'm of the view that, you see, this militaristic approach that Mr. Afenyamarkin's leadership is characterized with is something that, for me, they should have to have a rethink. Sometimes you need to learn when to be diplomatic. You see, learn diplomacy. And when it is necessary to be militaristic, you will see that approach of militancy will rather help than going diplomatic. And the videos are there. The footages are there. What are you going to do? What are you going to say otherwise?
Let me ask you
That's the more reason why you need to be diplomatic and negotiate.
Let me ask you my last question. Now, a committee has been set up to probe this, and we've already heard Bedra saying, who is the chair of the committee, Emmanuel Bedra, saying that they're going to ensure that it's not like anybody is going to be there's not going to be a witch hunt, in summary, as regards to what he said. But moving forward, beyond the committee, how would you expect cool heads to prevail?
The minority and the majority caucus, the leadership will have to meet and discuss the issues. After that, they can go and see the Speaker with a consensus building, a consensus decision, and a position and a viewpoint. That, for me, could soften the heart of the Speaker with respect to the sanctions that have been, imposed on these MPs. Somebody will have to bear the cut somewhere. Somebody will have to, suffer the consequences one way or the other. And I feel that what the Speaker has done is to save the face of Parliament and to let the whole world know that you cannot do things of that nature and go scot-free. So I will urge both sides of the House, but you could see that the direction of the minority is a self-serving kind of direction, and that would even make it a little difficult for the majority to join. But believe me, by the time they say Jack, the 2 weeks would have sufficed.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Doc, for speaking to us.
And that's the more reason why I believe they don't want to resort to the law court.
Thank you so much, Doc, for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, he's a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast in the Central Region. He's also a political analyst. Thank you for speaking to us on Hot Edition. We stay on politics and elections because tensions continue to rise in Ablekuma North following the contested parliamentary election on December 7, 2024, with irregularities, accusations of fraud, and heated debates surrounding the results. The constituency's representation remains uncertainty almost 2 months after the polls. Well, Joseph Gold Armstrong Alogbi brings us the latest on this developing story.
On December 7, 2024, the electorates of Ablekuma North went to the polls hoping to decide on their next parliamentary representative. But what followed was a tense and uncertain race fraught with drama, controversy, and confusion. As the day unfolded, the process seemed smooth. The long lines of voters eager to make their voices heard, and the election officials working tirelessly to ensure the polls ran fairly. But beneath the surface, there was an undercurrent of suspicion and uncertainty. By the evening of December 7, the first results began to trickle in. Preliminary reports from few of the polling stations suggested a tight race. Pressure mounted on the returning officer, Vincent Obeng, to declare the election results as supporters from both the NPP and the NDC watched closely.
NPP had 27,170. Had 28,151. On that note, I declare Eura Abna as the MP selected.
The NDC took to the streets in jubilation as their parliamentary candidate, Irabna Obin, was declared the winner. A day after, the Electoral Commission overruled the declaration, citing irregularities. This led to tension in the constituency and eventually at the regional electoral office, where a recount exercise was expected to take place. More shocking was the burning of ballot papers and pink sheets at the Kwashiman cluster of schools. As the hours passed, the coalition process began to raise alarm. There were growing reports of missing pink sheets and delays in the transmission of results from certain polling stations. With heavy security, the Electoral Commission continued to collate the results. By mid-December through to January 6, 2025, the political fallout began. Parties were trading accusations. The Electoral Commission faced mounting pressure to address claims of fraud. Then came another twist. Presiding officers suspected some of the pink sheets had been tampered with. NPP members of parliament waded into the controversy, attempting to halt parliamentary proceedings and demanding an end to the challenges in Ablekuma North.
The people of Ablekuma need a representation, and government must take steps in ensuring that the Electoral Commission declares.
Ablekuma North parliamentary seat still hangs in the balance nearly 2 months after the general election.
The fact is that, as I stand here, I don't have any document to continue. And both parties are also not having.
I believe that NPP will win because this constituency is NPP stronghold. The Rablan have won. We all know.
Dr. Sribo has been providing some answers.
It is the return officer who declares results. So the last time we were left with about 3. By all means, we'll go back to the collation center again for the return officer to take decisions on them.
In Ablekuma North, the struggle for parliamentary representation is far from over.
Many have suggested the Electoral Commission at least rerun 3 of the police station election to end this back and forth. However, the buck stops with the returning officer, Vincent Obin, to make the final determination.
Indeed, Joseph Armstrong with that story from Ablekuma North. And let's bring you an update on the sad incident that happened yesterday. And a tragic incident occurred during a Ghana Premier League match on Sunday as a devoted Asante Kotoko fan, Francis Yafrimpong, popularly known as Pole, was stabbed to death following an argument with an unidentified man. The incident happened in Nswatre during Kotoko's match against local rivals in Nswatreman. In a statement, Nswatreman described the loss of life as quote-unquote senseless and devastating. In response to the tragedy, the Ghana Football Association GFA has banned Nswatreman from using the home ground, Nana Kramansa Park, and postponed the next round of league matches. The GFA stated, quote, such acts have no place in Ghanaian football, unquote, vowing to take decisive action. And I'm joined in the studio by 2 of our gentlemen here, Bilishan and... I beg your pardon? Mutala Yakubu. Yes, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us in studio. I mean, this is not a laughing matter at all.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
Quite sad that you're going to watch something that is fun and you end up in the grave. So just tell us really, let me start with you, Bill, what update you have on this beyond what I just read.
Yeah, so the latest coming in is the bank ruler of Nswatreman, that is Honorable Ignatius Bafuewa, is currently in the police custody undergoing some questioning regarding what happened. And this is...
sorry to take to butt in. You mean the unidentified person is now being questioned?
No. He is the bank ruler of Nswatreman.
Okay.
That is Honorable Bafuewa. Ignatius Bafuewa, who
the
was
former deputy employment minister.
Yeah, former MP. He is being questioned because, according to some reports from eyewitnesses on the scene, he was basically around the scene, and the allegations against him is he was inciting some fans in Nswatre to carry on with those acts during that game against Asante Kotoko.
He was there?
He was there. Yes. Eyewitnesses placed him around the scene. Eyewitnesses have stated that he was involved in inciting, in quotes, fans to basically carry on with those violent acts. And I mean, eventually that has led to a death of a very, very popular Asante Kotoko supporter, which is really a shame. So currently he's still in questioning. I made a call just a few minutes ago before entering. He's still in questioning, and they are trying to get some answers from him before they possibly let him go, and the police will keep carrying on their investigation.
Is it likely he may be detained?
I think it's a questioning process. It's just the beginning of an investigation. It's only expected that, some people who were around the scene at the time would be questioned on what exactly happened, and then they'll be let go for the first time while the police carry on investigating. And when they come to a definite conclusion on who they deem the the perpetrators of this, then they can start making actual arrests.
And I want to come to you, Murtala, quite shortly about what we know, whether the police has been able to find any links to this person who stabbed him. But before I do that, I just want to find out from you, Bill, whether we know anything about the family of this Pole person and how they are reacting to it.
Yeah, actually 3 Sports visited the family just a few hours ago, and they are absolutely devastated.
Certainly.
Very devastated. And what's sad about this is Pole actually got married about 6 months ago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, just about 6 months ago.
Wow.
And so his wife was downcast. I've seen a bit of the video, her saying that she's still waiting for her husband to return. So it's really, really disheartening. It's really, really sad. And a member of the GFA Executive Council was actually around the area to also visit and also give his commiserations on what happened. And so it's really been a sad period in the last 24 hours.
I'm coming to you, Murtala. I was asking earlier about this suspect, the quote-unquote unidentified man. What do we know about him so far?
Well, for now, we don't know much about who committed the crime, but in Swaterman, in their statement after the incident, indicated that the deceased had an altercation with the culprits at a drinking spot.
Oh,
And
so that was way before the game.
Yeah,
so
way
there was
before
a
the game.
history.
So it looks like that altercation degenerated into something different. And after the game, everybody was leaving the stadium as usual, how fans leave the stadium. And that was where he was attacked. So Insuateman is giving us a sense that they have an idea of who might have committed that crime.
Then it shouldn't take this long for the police
that is
to
why,
pick him up.
Yeah, the Ghana Football Association yesterday in their statement said the head of security, that is DCOP Lady Adonko, would be flying to Sunyani. What we know is that he has already touched base in Sunyani and he's linked up with the Sunyani Regional Police Command to begin investigation into this matter. And it should be an easy one. This is a matter that goes beyond the GFA just banning the club. It is a murder case. So the
That's a
police
criminal case.
Yes, it's a criminal case. So the police need to step in. And it opens up a bigger conversation about how unsafe our stadiums are. Because if someone can go to the stadium with a knife on them, then it tells a lot about security.
And it seems to me that if indeed what the Insuateman is saying as regards the pre-fight, then it means that this might have been a premeditated murder. I mean, not trying to be prejudicial before this whole process starts. But if that is the case, then it seems that he came there with a determination to finish an unfinished business.
So there's even a genesis to this issue where the deceased went on radio and talked about dealing with the Insuateman supporters when they come to Kumasi, but he was made to retract that statement on radio. And some Insuateman supporters had already told him that anytime he steps foot in Insuatre, they would also deal with him. But we thought it was all calm because, I mean, Kotoko has visited Insuateman twice. But from the statement that the home side released, it means that they have an idea of who might have committed the crime, because they said he had an altercation with the culprits at the drinking spot before the game, and they took it beyond the drinking spot and entered the pitch, because the whole altercation actually started on the field where the players were trading blows. You should get the videos to watch. You can see Ghana Premier League players trading blows, and that seemed to have transcended into the fans and erupted some crowd violence. And I mean, we couldn't control that, and security was also overpowered on the day. So
is that his picture we're seeing?
That's him.
Okay,
That's him.
That's quite sad. So if you're watching us or following us on Facebook, we're showing you the picture of Pole. Unfortunately, the man whose life ended yesterday. How old was he? He seemed very young.
And we are also being told that he left behind 4 kids, 4 little ones.
God.
He got married in last year, August.
Yes.
So just about 6 months.
You talked about 6 months ago.
Yes, and he's a staunch Kotoko follower. If you watch the Ghana Premier League a lot, you see him always around the team. He's like a lead supporter for them. So this comes at a time where Kotoko are devastated. And that has led to a different event where the Asante Kotoko Circle, that is their supporters front, have also held a press conference and called for the arrest of Ignatius Bafuwa, the owner of Insuateman, and also told the GFA that they should act or they will pull out of every GFA organized event. It means that Kotoko will pull out of the FA Cup, the Ghana Premier League, and all events that are organized by the GFA. So this issue goes beyond just what we are seeing.
And it seems to me that this is a popular one that a lot of people follow with passion in this community of Nswatre. And I'm asking you both the same question, starting with you, Bill. How is the community reacting to it? You talked earlier about the family.
Yeah. All over social media, it's basically been calls for the GFA to act swiftly, calls for the police to act swiftly, calls for the perpetrators to be arrested, and calls for the league to be postponed or suspended for a particular period. Steps are being made in that front, but I'm sure people want more. They want to see the one who committed this crime behind bars as soon as possible.
And we do have Jerome Osho on the line. I'll go to him shortly, but what more do we know about how the community is reacting beyond what
Sad
Bill...
because we are also hearing that Nswatre may also withdraw from the Ghana Premier League. And if it happens, the people within Nswatre are losing football and are also losing their livelihood, because football brings a lot in terms of sales around the stadium. So this issue goes beyond just having players play on the pitch to entertain the fans there. It would take a lot out of Nswatre, because this is a community that has toiled a lot to get a Premier League team, and finally they have one, and this issue befalls them.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for bringing us updates. Not so exciting news. Somebody is dead. Mutala Yakubu with our sports team, and Billy Shan. Let's have a quick conversation with Jerome Otre, who's a sports analyst. Jerome, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, Beatrice.
Your initial reaction to the action that the GFA has taken regarding this incident?
Well, I saw a statement last night. I thought that statement was one of those statements that have always been around. Anytime anything like this happens, they will pull it, change the date, maybe change signatures, and publish it. So that didn't surprise me much. What I have seen this afternoon, which looks a bit impressive, is the updates they have given so far on some of the steps that have been taken. I think it's clear enough because, it's a very sad incident. So if you have free flow of information coming from official sources, it gives a certain level of attention and seriousness to the matter. And I think that is good enough. I am, however, not happy with the way we seem to be projecting what I consider to be outright lies from Nswatre. For example, their statement says that the guy was killed outside the stadium. The videos don't suggest that. So I would wish that the media put the issues where they are. If it's going to be a matter of what someone has put in their statement and we leave it like that, it becomes as if we are adding to whatever they want to do. When I have seen a video of someone killed within the precincts of a stadium, you can't tell me he was killed outside and I will just read the statement and not question it. You see, a lot of things have happened relative to violence in our football, which we haven't taken seriously enough. And that is why we've reached this point. Unfortunately, 24 years after more than 100 people died at the stadium, we are still having people being killed senselessly at the stadium. And it is because we've not taken security matters seriously enough. See, for all the period I covered the Ghana Premier League, and I'm talking about a period of about 20 years, there was no day I felt safe in the BA regions. In fact, I stopped going to certain places like Doma and Brekum and Obuasi because of violence. You go just to do your work as a journalist, and people feel that they should harm you, just like that. The FA doesn't take any action apart from slapping what I consider very ridiculous fines. When people have been injured, you just slap a 2,000 cedi fine on a club. They will pay and misbehave the next day. The police, unfortunately, who are supposed to handle the criminal aspect of these incidents, appear not to be on top of issues. So, for instance, as the FA is saying that police commissioner, the head of the security committee of the FA, is leading investigations into the matter, I am happy with that. But I have no confidence that it will change anything, except this time we are in a new year and they may want to prove us wrong.
They may want to prove us wrong, but I don't know whether you had the opportunity to listen to the conversation I had with my two colleagues who are still in the studio with me, Mutala Yakubu and Billy Shan, about Nswatraman apparently giving information that it knew, or it has information that apparently there was this scuffle, as it were, between the two, the suspect and the deceased, at a bar even before the stadium. So if that's the case, it shouldn't be difficult for the police to find who the suspect is.
I think Nswatraman is giving themselves away. In the first place, I don't believe in anything they put in that statement. I have no trust in whatever they put in that statement.
Why?
But assuming that is... Yeah, because, you see, if I have seen a video where I've seen someone, stopped within the parameters of the stadium, and you come out with a statement that says that the person was killed outside the stadium, I will not believe you, because the video evidence is overwhelming.
No, so what they are trying to say, not that person was killed outside of the stadium, but that there was a fight prior to the killing within...
I get that point. Yes, I get that point. But, Beatrice, I'm just saying that even that, I don't believe it, because there are eyewitnesses, or there were eyewitnesses whose accounts, in my opinion, are weightier than whatever the Nswatraman Club has put in their statement. Because people who were at the stadium have detailed what happened from the VIP to the point the guy was stabbed. And so if you say there was an altercation between him and some people in town, the guy entered the stadium in the Kotoko bus. So when was that? I wasn't there, but I'm just saying that based on video evidence, based on eyewitness accounts, the guy was seen coming out from the Kotoko bus. So at what point in time was he in town arguing with somebody? Well, I don't want to go into that. I'm just saying that based on what I have seen, based on the people I have listened to who were at the match, based on events that they have narrated, even including independent journalists who, from morning till this evening, have been speaking on the issues, there is nothing that tells me that what Nswatraman has put in their statement is anything to be taken seriously.
You seem to have low confidence on all levels, but I want to believe that you would have some hope as regards the way forward and what you expect to be done. Since, especially when you mentioned that we are in a new year, you hope they'll do things differently.
Yeah, that is my only source of hope, because we are trying to do things anew. There's a new government that is bent on resetting a lot of things. So you would want to find yourself in that space and see whether the FA and the police would also want to reset and get things done properly. So we have to give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that this time they will arrest them. Because see, Beatrice, this is not the first time something like this is happening. At that particular center, they have been cited for violent incidents in recent months. In fact, one of the few times I paid attention to developments like this was Brekum. There was bloodshed. A Kotoko official was wounded. Nobody was arrested. Nobody. The man even went ahead to even pull a gun. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was prosecuted. So that may be in the past. Let us not dwell on that too much. Let us give the FA and the police the benefit of the doubt and say that it's a new year. Let us hope that the things that we spoke about in the past, which they didn't do, this time they will be ready to get them done, so that some of these things are nipped in the bud, because it is not something we should countenance. Somebody leaves home, leaves his family. I've seen videos of the wife talking about how many times she spoke with she spoke with the husband, about 2 or 3 times. The guy was safe, was okay, reported back home that he has arrived. Then the next hour, you hear that somebody has stopped him. Why should we take this? So it's a very sad day for Ghana football. is a culmination of police inaction, GFA's weakness in tightening security, and ensuring that we have better security at our venues. But what has happened has happened. Let's look forward and see if the police will do anything different from what they have been used to in the past, which was not encouraging.
Indeed, let's look forward to what the police would do beyond what they've done in the past. But moving or beyond this issue, and that's a point you've reiterated about security in our stadiums. I want to believe that you would have a lot to say on it. But briefly, are you able to tell us what sort of immediate steps? I'm quite surprised that actually you can enter the stadium without being screened, and people can go have knives and guns and all sort of stuff.
Yes,
in the meantime, what can be put in place to ensure that we minimize these things?
Our venues are not safe. That's number one. Number two, I like the fact that the FA has suspended the league. At least the next games will not be played. So that it gives them some breather to look at certain things well. I think that it might not happen immediately, but we have to look at certain venues again. Look, Brekum, Doma, I'm sorry. If anybody is from there and they like their clubs and they follow their football there, they should forgive me. But those places are not safe. They are not safe. Because if you do a graph of violence, and I mean, from last night I've been collecting my own data from Kotoko Express reports over the last 15 or so years. My graph is pointing so high to more incidents in those regions than anywhere else. So immediately, the FA must identify these red spot areas, where everybody who covers the Ghana Premier League knows that these areas are problematic. Let us look at why these areas tend to record more incidents of violence. And if it is about strengthening security there, let's get it done. Otherwise, I would suggest that league matches are played in more safer areas than, like Accra, Kumasi, and the properly structured stadiums. Otherwise, some of these centers, excuse me to say, are jungles. You won't go there and survive.
Thank you so much, Jeramotre, for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
Not quite a good conversation to have, but Jeramotre there, sports analyst, thank you. And to you, gentlemen, Mutala Yakubu, as well as Billy Shan, for bringing us the details.
Welcome.
And coming up shortly is Michael Ogbodu with the latest in business. Do stay with us.
And hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, newly appointed Dr. Johnson Isiama assures financial markets of stability amid leadership transition at the Bank of Ghana. I am Michael Ogbodu. Details coming up shortly. Please stay. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. And the newly appointed governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has assured financial markets that the ongoing leadership transition at the central bank will not disrupt its operations or policy direction. Addressing staff after formally assuming office, Dr. Isiama emphasized his commitment to maintaining stability and continuity, assuring that the institution will continue to uphold its mandate effectively.
And as I said, I was explaining to my colleagues a while ago, His Excellency the President thinks that we should do this. It's a way of enforcing our independence as a central bank. The public must see us, as working together. It's just another transition, which is normal. Some of the people here are people we know already. And so the transition, you can be sure, will be smooth. Today is day one. We are just touching base, getting updated on issues. As the days unfold, we'll get to other things. So essentially, that is it.
And that was newly appointed Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama Pandit. Speaking there. Meanwhile, economist Professor Peter Quartey expects a smooth transition, citing Dr. Isiama's academic credentials and previous experience as a deputy governor. Speaking to 3 Business, Professor Quartey expressed optimism that the new governor will prioritize efforts to stabilize the local currency and ensure macroeconomic stability.
The new governor, he's not new to the bank, Ghana. He's been there before, so I believe the transition won't be too rough. We're going to have a smooth transition. And given his academic background, his work experience, I expect him to settle in nicely and continue from where his predecessors have left. They've worked very hard to bring some stability to the exchange rate, etc. And I believe they will come in to build on or add value to what they have done.
And that was economist Professor Peter Quartey speaking there. Away from that, the cedi continued its strong run last week, appreciating against the US dollar and other major foreign currencies on the retail market. This narrowed its year-to-date loss to 1.43% to the American greenback, an improvement over the 1.85% recorded during the same period last year. The stability was underpinned by subdued market activity and increased foreign exchange interventions by the Bank of Ghana. The month finished with an average exchange rate of 15.81 Ghana cedis to $1. The local currency appreciated by 1.11%, 0.78% and 0.6% week on week against the US dollar, pound, euro respectively. It began the week selling at 15 cedis 85 pesos to $1. And on that note, that'll be all for today's edition of the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please visit our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.
To make your drive home epic, it's the 3FM Drive with the one and only Giovanni Killen right here on 3FM 92.7. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We're transforming your commute into a top-tier experience. Need a pick-me-up? Our music belt is pure energy, pure vibes. Stay ahead with the Drive Sports, bringing you the latest scores and highlights. Curious about the stars? We've got all the hottest trends, celebrity profile interviews, plus DJ faculty has got you.
Ready? Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays on 3FM Drive. You know where it's at.
This is where the action is at, live on the 3FM Drive on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to the 3FM Drive. That's right!
92.7 3FM presents Fit Start Walk. Kick off your year the right way. Join us for a morning of exercise, networking and relaxation. Date Saturday, 1st February 2025. Time 5:30 a.m. Starting and ending point Aviation Social Centre.
Accra, Ghana, Africa and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m.
I just wanna praise you. I just wanna come for you are. Come for you are.
what is your favorite scripture?
Well, my favorite scripture is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord. Kwame, that is absolutely my favorite scripture.
Yes, your inspirational gospel mix, a moment to get inspired with the best of inspirational songs and interviews to get you prepared for the new week on every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, your big brother, Kwame Adu, mixing G, mixing gospel. You can't miss it. You are blessed as you listen. 3FM 92.7.
And you're still here on Hot Edition of 3FM 92.7, some 16 minutes. Just turned 6:16 past the hour of 6. 16 minutes past the hour of 6. Let's bring you some more. And the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu has targeted to fix 70% of Accra's non-functioning street lights within 50 days. Meeting her staff on the first day at work, she outlined her vision for the region, promising to address the poor sanitation in the capital city.
A brighter and safer Accra. That is the commitment of the new Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Akwele Oklu, as she begins her tenure. In her first official meeting with staff, she set a bold target.
Within 50 days in office, all these things should be fixed. 50 days in office.
All the street lights?
Yes, not even all, but we'll make sure that majority, at least 70% of it, should be yes.
Beyond the poor lighting system in the capital, the minister pledged to review and implement a comprehensive sanitation and waste policy to ensure cleaner streets and better waste management.
We will review and implement a comprehensive sanitation and waste policy in line with the NDC's Clean Up Ghana initiative to promote a healthier and cleaner environment. Waste segregation will be encouraged with support for garbage bins, bags, bins in public places and homes. The reintroduction of the National Sanitation Day and the Cleaner City Award will promote a competitive and responsible approach to environmental sanitation. In line with this, there will be a regional sanitation day on the last Friday of every month.
She also urged staff to work diligently to ensure Greater Accra remains a model region for the rest of the country. As the minister settles into her role, all eyes will be on how quickly her promises translate into action in view of the myriad challenges that confronts the capital. With street lighting and sanitation high on her agenda, residents are hopeful for a new chapter in Greater Accra's development.
That was a news desk report. Now, acting CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, says he's competent to steer the affairs of the company. The political scientist appointment to the authority has been greeted with mixed reactions. Listen to him speak on hot issues earlier.
These are things that I studied and I got much information and insight into that. I believe that when it comes to that aspect of Shippers Authority's job that deals with their work on the high seas would come in handy. I can fall on them to help me in discussing with people I'll be working with and taking the best decisions as to how shippers' interest on the high seas will be promoted.
I see. Your critics say that this position that you have now is a reward for your work over the period, over the period of criticizing the previous administration. How do you respond to those critics?
Well, I mean, critics saying this, it's a democracy, and people are entitled to what they want to say. Some easily forget, some are ignorant. Go to Ghana's history. I started this work of subjecting governments to strict proof in J. Kufuor's time. Look at my work, ministerial appointment and government expenditure in Ghana's Fourth Republic. I did that study because of J. Kufuor, who had criticized Jerry Rawlings for having 82 ministers. And then when he got to become the president, he had 88 ministers. I criticized him severely, and then that forced me to go into that study to look at how much it costs to hire just one minister. And throughout the tenure of J. Kufuor, I criticized him. When President Mills was the president of Ghana, I was the man who told him that we don't need a moralist as a president who will stand for a certain virtue and would not be able to translate, or that virtue would not translate or would not affect his appointees. So it is not enough for you to say "Mepe asumdwe" when your appointees are not peaceful. It is not enough to say, as for me, if I'm traveling, I'll not take per diem.
And you had the Professor Ransford Jampo, who is the acting CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. Some more here on Hot Edition, and a desperate mother is seeking refuge for her daughter who has Down syndrome and developmental problems. This is because some relatives, community members and an oracle are seeking to end the life of the child because they believe she is not a human being. Portia Gabo reports.
When Mercy, not her real name, gave birth to her daughter, healthcare professionals told her that the baby was different.
The doctor told me to be extra cautious with my child in public.
They claim my daughter is a river baby and that they'll kill her. But society and relatives posed the greatest threat. A man met me and asked if I had delivered. I said yes. He asked if my husband's grandmother had died. I said yes. He said my daughter is the reincarnation of an old woman and that I must prepare a concussion to bath her. With nowhere to turn to, Mercy sought refuge with her pastor.
A week ago, the mother came to me crying that this is the issue that is confronting her, that they say the child is not a human being. So they will do everything to eliminate the child. How are they going to eliminate the child? So if they are going to use juju or something, it will not happen because we pray that that thing will not happen. So I told her that, or if they will poison or something, then you should make sure that the child shouldn't go to those who are saying that they will eliminate the child. So I left and I came home. So in the night around 8 o'clock, the girl called me again to inform me that they have called her again, informing her about what they will do to the child. The thing prompted me. I said, no, this thing cannot happen.
Portia Gabo found that report. Let's bring you this before we end the program tonight. And one person is feared dead in a vehicular accident which occurred in Ho this evening, with about 7 other people reported critically injured. We're joined by Faisal Abdul Rahman. He's our Volta regional correspondent. Hello, Faisal. What can you tell us?
Yes, good evening, my sister. So the incident occurred at about 4 p.m. this evening. And by the time I got to the scene, we observed a woman who was lying on the floor, feared dead. The police moved in to convey the body to the teaching hospital morgue. But there were 7 other people who were critically injured, including school children who were on board the Fragia at the time they were returning from school. It is unclear how the incident happened, but an eyewitness told us that during the very moment the incident happened, he was doing something by the roadside and saw the pickup vehicle which was traveling from the whole stretch towards Sokode, and then in the next minute he realized that there was a clash. As to how it happened, he could not tell, but when he moved to the scene, he realized that the school children who were on board, about 4 of them were critically injured. As I speak to you, I have confirmed from the whole teaching hospital that 2 adults are in critical condition at their end, 1 child in pediatric emergency ward currently. The other persons, including the driver of the pickup vehicle, a Toyota Mitsubishi, and 1 other passenger, have also been sent to the whole municipal hospital. And so I'm following up on this to be sure of the total number of persons who were injured and the extent of injury they have sustained. But it is confirmed that the woman who we feared dead is actually dead and has since been sent to the whole teaching hospital morgue. We are not able to identify her. The police also told us that they found a purse on her, but there was no identification card for them to be able to identify her yet.
Thank you very much, Faisal Abdul Rahman. He's our Volta region correspondent, and some breaking news coming through from a statement from the Ghana Police Service about that in Swatreman story we brought you with the sports team. I'll just read a bit of that to you. It says the Ghana Police Service has arrested 3 individuals in connection with the violent disturbances that occurred yesterday, 2nd February 2025, during a football match between Inswatraman FC and Kumasi Asante-Kotoko FC at Inswatre in the Bono region, resulting in the death of 1 person. There's more of this statement on SreeNews.com. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to SreeNews.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.